Okay, so I made this same type of video a while ago, so before you watch this one, you may want to watch the one beforehand as I discuss the events of Naruto up until the Boruto franchise, but definitely be wary, as when I initially created the video, I mainly read the manga, and ended up infamously mispronouncing the name Deidara, so if you want to hear that, definitely be sure to go check out the other one, and come back and we'll talk about the new stuff. Also, keep in mind that that's a much older video, and this is chronological to that, and personally, I don't feel like the changes in Boruto would actually be that drastic as compared to the ones in Shippuden in part 1. But anyways, let's get into talking about how the story would have changed if Naruto had the Sharingan in the Boruto franchise. So something I wanted to rediscuss before I start talking about the last as well is that if we continue with the fact that Naruto had the dual Sharingan at this point, seeing that he could get them to go Mangekyo, he would be slowly losing his light throughout this story. So he probably wouldn't be using and utilizing the Mangekyo abilities until most of the important events that follow in the franchise. Also, the fact that he's an Uzumaki does help a lot that I didn't mention before, because he does have an immense amount of chakra, which would help with the chakra drain, which is provided by the Mangekyo Sharingan on people who are not Uchiha, so like in Kakashi's case, but it wouldn't be as bad seeing that Naruto has several times the chakra of Kakashi, especially at this point at the end of Shippuden as well. So starting with the events of the last, to be honest, not a whole lot would change here. A few minor changes would be that as a result of defeating Pain faster in Shippuden, we probably wouldn't see that emotional moment with Hinata, and as a result, they wouldn't be as close together in the beginning of the last, but a lot of time has passed since then, and Sakura would still kind of play a matchmaker for them, so obviously we would still end up getting Boruto and Himawari. It's just something to note. Also, the reason why I say not too much would have changed in this movie is that the whole point of this movie was to get to the final scene between Naruto and Toneri, and Naruto already kind of destroyed Toneri in just one hit without using any jutsus as depicted in the canonical corresponding light novel, implying that he was just way more powerful in general. You give him some Sharingans on top of that and you just forget it. It's not even close. Moving on to the Momoshiki arc. So there are a few minor elements that would change, that would build up to larger changes later on. First of all, I think that Boruto would have been disqualified much earlier than he was in the manga itself, because Naruto has constantly active Sharingan, which he cannot deactivate. Naruto probably would have spotted the ninja tools on Boruto's arms during his first fight with Yurui. This means that by the time that Momoshiki and Kinshiki arrive, Karatsuke, I believe that's his name, the scientist guy, may not have still been inside the arena doing his spiel on why ninja tools are so great. We would be past that a little bit. The exams would be continuing, and both him and Boruto would not be able to give Momoshiki more power through the use of ninja tools, allowing him to, absorb their techniques. And although the techniques in and of themselves weren't that powerful, Momoshiki can release the attacks with several times the original power, and as a result of having a dual Mangekyo Sharingan, a KCM avatar, chakra that Sasuke lent him, and a weaker attack he had to actually tank from Momoshiki, he wouldn't be as damaged after that first attack. Now, I still do see him going with Momoshiki and Kinshiki since he didn't really want to endanger those around him, but once Naruto gets released, they quickly defeat and dispose of Momoshiki and Kinshiki, probably just Momoshiki, because it would be cool if we got to see Momoshiki and Kinshiki both implant their karmas in like Boruto and Naruto. But as much as I want to say this, I don't really think this would be the case, because as soon as Naruto joined the fight, which would be the changing factor here, Kinshiki was already pinned, and that's when Momoshiki already decided that he wanted to absorb him, and after that Momoshiki gets brutally defeated, even faster than he was before, and Boruto still ends up with a karma, so we can continue with the story and some crucial plot points later on. It's hard to change a lot here in the beginning because, it's just the beginning, and realistically not a whole lot could change because Naruto and Sasuke already had the power necessary to defeat these foes, so just buffing Naruto doesn't really change too much here. Also, I'm gonna skip over like a lot of minor things as, the focal point kind of moved past Naruto, so I have to focus on the things that only include Naruto. So the little arc where Naruto has to be the bodyguard to Tento, and the Owl mini arcs, they're not really as relevant here. I also wanted to dedicate a small talking segment about the mini Shin arc, as at this point, with the use of the Mangekyo Sharingan versus Momoshiki, Naruto would definitely be going blind, but now, in the Shin arc, he has access to a whole lot of eyes that can provide him with Eternal Mangekyo Sharingan. Now, the issue with this that I know that a lot of you are going to say is that Naruto is not an Uchiha and is not related to any of the Shin clones, so according to early descriptions of the EMS, he wouldn't be able to get it. But we may be able to get around that, seeing that the Sharingan provided by the Shin Uchiha clones are genetically genetically modified. And with the help of Tsunade medical ninjas and scientific ninjas, I don't doubt that they wouldn't be able to create a way for him to gain his own version of EMS. Honestly, if he couldn't, the story would get dull really quick. He would just kind of go blind. But I guess even without the EMS, he would still be able to implant the eyes of some of the clones, maybe some of the deceased clones or the deceased original, and he would have his vision restored either way. Though the only difference is that one way he gets EMS and still keeps his previous abilities like Kodo Matsukami, which would come in handy later on, and the other way he would just have access to the overall abilities of the Shin Uchiha clones, such as space-time ninjutsu and the ability to manipulate weapons and blades. Now, just because I know that a lot of you guys are going to say that he can't really get EMS, I'll just go with the fact that he gets his vision reinstated by the fact that he got the Shin Uchiha clone eyes. But just keep that in mind, that would be a possibility under certain circumstances. Anyways, with moving on with Naruto and Delta, I mean, Delta would definitely lose. Honestly, she probably wouldn't even be able to hit Naruto, as his taijutsu would be enhanced to the extreme with his Mangekyo Sharingan. And that brings us to the biggest part where Naruto and Sasuke contributed in the Boruto franchise, with the exception of the Momoshiki and Kinshiki fights, and that is against Jigen, right? Essentially giving Naruto a buff that's twice as strong, that being his own majestic attire Susanoo, since he can use both the Kurama avatar and the Susanoo, stacked with Sasuke as he was, would mean that the Jigen vessel would be more strained than previously, and with this massive amp in strength, they may even be able to kill the Jigen vessel, although this would be maybe a little bit of a stretch, seeing how they got destroyed the first time. They were able to chip his abdomen, so if you make Naruto like twice as strong, or give him twice the buff, he might be able to actually bring down the vessel to the point where they actually kill the vessel. Anyways, the full Ishiki fight would soon ensue regardless of the period of time. And finally, at this point in time, the DMS or EMS, whatever he has, doesn't matter at this point too much, wouldn't be enough for Naruto to stop Ishiki, so he would still have to use Baryon mode. Now, I do have a little bit of a theory here. A game! So, Naruto lost his Baryon mode transformation before Ishiki was initially defeated because he and Kurama lost chakra. As previously stated, the form works by slamming their chakras together like nuclear fusion. I made a video talking about this as well, thus creating a new chakra until one or both of their chakras ran out, which they did. If Naruto had double Mangekyo Sharingans, his taijutsu would be vastly improved, as he would be able to predict and dodge Ishiki's blows, and it would be more of an unbalanced fight, which would lead to blows delivered faster and more efficiently by Naruto, and this would lead to Ishiki being the one to lose the time limit before Naruto. And if Naruto is able to stop the process before both of their chakra runs out, which did not happen originally, because again, remember, they ran out of chakra, but if he manages to defeat Ishiki before they run out, he may still be able to salvage Kurama. Now, there is a lot of potential problems here, as we don't know if this is even possible to stop it halfway, as it was seen as a sacrificial gamble, and we don't know if Kurama's chakra would be able to restore and replenish after the fact. But for the purpose of actually, altering the story and actually doing something with the story here, and not just playing out all the events as they played out before, let's just kind of meet halfway here. Let's assume that if Naruto was able to manage to keep Kurama, he would not be able to retain the full potential of his abilities previously. That honestly brings us pretty close to where we are in the manga right now. I'm not gonna go much further, as right now there's no conclusion to the code arc. But anyways, how do you guys think the story would have changed if Naruto would have had a Sharingan? Now, don't take everything I said here as a fact, as these are just my oversimplified opinions on what could happen. There's many different paths, as I kind of experimented with some of them, as you saw, but this is just a good idea of how the story could have differed in different ways. Definitely let me know what you guys think down below. If you guys want me to talk about what would have happened if Naruto had the Rinnegan, Byakugan, or another Dojutsu. Anyways, if you guys like more videos like this, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, as we're almost at 15K, and I'll catch you in the next one.